Hey y'all, on today's show, we help Crystal launch her product and find customers.
Welcome to the Flip Lifestyle Podcast, where life always comes before work. We're your hosts, Shane and Jocelyn Sams. We're a real family that figured out how to make our entire living online. And now, we help other families do the same. Are you ready to flip your life? All right, let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. Super excited to be back with you today. We've got another member of the Flip Your Life community on the show, and we are going to help them take their online dreams to the next level. Want to welcome Crystal Harper to the program today. Hey, Crystal, how you doing?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
And I'm super excited to have Crystal on the show because Crystal is one of our private mastermind people. We've been working with her for a few weeks now, and she has taken massive action and made massive progress in her online business. We're ready to get to the next level and go to the next steps.
All right. It is great to have you here today. And I look forward to everyone else in our audience knowing more about your business and what you are up to. So let's start out by telling everyone a little bit about you, your background, and what you are doing online.
Okay. Well, I got my bachelor's degree in psychology back in 2007. And back then I was planning on getting my PhD in clinical psychology, but I actually had a daughter right after I graduated. So I decided to take time off from school. I became a waitress. I wanted to be on my daughter's schedule during the day. So her dad watched her at night and I worked at night. But when I turned 30 and my daughter started first grade, I decided to go back to school for my teaching certification, thinking that I would be on my daughter's schedule. But once I was in the program, I realized that wasn't really the case. So I started thinking that working in the classroom wasn't really what I wanted to do. So I decided to go back to school again and get my master's degree in e-learning, which I will graduate from in December. So I've just been on the fence of where I'm going. And then I ran into you guys beginning of April, and I just felt like that's where I needed to be. I've just always wanted to own my own business, but never knew how I could possibly do that. Yeah, like I said, I just found you guys and the rest is history.
It's funny because Crystal, when she says, I found you guys, here's what she actually means. So Crystal finds our podcast, signs up for the membership, buys a ticket to Flip Your Life Live, and then joins our private mastermind all within like a week. Like I'm watching these happen like as the week's going on, like Monday, I see who's like, oh, we got a ticket to Flip Your Life Live. Whoa, they joined the community. Wow, they signed up for private coaching. Like what is going on here? So like you dove into the deep end.
You went all in, Crystal.
I did.
I like that. And you're also our people because I like how you're like, okay, so I started out to work in education. And then I decided I didn't want to work in education.
Pivot.
Yeah, right.
like fork in the road, go left. I don't even know what's right.
That's
left.
Sort of the way we were. Like we were kind of like, we want schedule flexibility. Let's be teachers. And then we're like, no, let's not.
There's not as many teachers as you think it is. You know,
I know.
Like it is really important for people like to take that lesson though. Like just because you've already invested a certain amount of time into something doesn't mean you have to keep going down that road if you don't want to do it. And when you realize you don't want to do it, like you don't just finish something. But when we quit our jobs, I sat down and gave my letter of resignation to the principal, right? And, he looked at me and he goes, how long have you been teaching? And I said, 9 years going on 10. This will be my 10th year if I was going to finish. And he goes, 9 years. He goes, you've got all that retirement in and you're just going to give that up? And I looked at him and I went, yeah, but I've got like 18 left. Like I'm not just going to finish the last 18 years to retirement because I've got 9 in the system. Like you don't do that. Like I realized I don't want to do this. So I'm going to pivot,
Right. I mean, and it's all a learning experience too. So
exactly. And I know there's a lot of people out there that could probably know your story. Like I've lived your story, like didn't know what they wanted to do. Got it with her waitressing, being a waiter, doing stuff like this, kind of floating around, went back to school, and now this sucks too. Let's go get a new degree, go to another direction. And that's where it brought you today. But tell us about like e-learning though, because this is going to be, this is where we're going to go with your online business. But tell us a little bit about e-learning. Like what does that mean to have a degree in e-learning?
Well, it's e-learning and instructional design is what the actual program is. So I'm really learning how to design courses online. So I can actually even work in the back end and just design courses for teachers, or I can teach online. So pretty much the business that we've came up with is teaching teachers how to learn how to teach online.
Exactly.
Or showing them how to teach online.
And giving them that path, right? Like a few weeks ago, we had a guest on, her name was Gina, and she is an online teacher. She teaches English to Chinese children. Right. But she needs to, but like it's different teaching on the internet. It's different teaching it's different creating an online course than doing something live in front of 30 students. And like you got to know how to transition. And there may be a lot of teachers out there in the future who never walk in a classroom because they are going to be teaching from their home on the internet. And they've got to know how to actually manage that process.
Yeah. And I've realized that, especially since starting this business, that there are so many different opportunities to teach online that I didn't even realize while I was going through the program, but just doing all the research there's so many opportunities.
Well, tell us a little bit about your journey so far, though. Like this was not your first idea, right?
Right.
Right. Like what did you kind of like dabble into before we started actually working together? And I was like, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
Do this.
I was thinking about starting a business to help teachers learn how to work with technology better in their classroom. Which I thought was a great idea. But then after talking to you, you kind of discouraged me of that.
But we started researching it. It's always about the research.
Yeah,
and nobody was really looking for that.
And I had I know. And I had even tried to find other people that were doing it, and I realized that there weren't. So
so usually when that happens, it might make you think, this might not be the best idea.
If nobody's selling anything and nobody's running ads about the thing, there's probably nobody making money with the thing.
And it doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad idea. It just might mean it's the wrong time for it.
Yeah, that's true.
So tell us about your business right now, though. Now, what have we created? Now, what's amazing is just a few weeks ago, you had absolutely nothing, right? And like, tell us what we're doing now. Like, what's your idea, how it's evolved, and like what you've actually already created.
Okay. Well, first I created the course. It took me almost probably about 3 weeks where I created 3 different modules. So the first module is telling teachers about what opportunities they have to be able to teach online. And then the second module, what you helped me create, Shane, was the Harper method. So I teach teachers step by step how to design their own online course.
We have an onboarding call in our Voxer program, and we were like, well, what is this going to look like? And like, we started, something happened, and we were talking about some kind of weird acronym or something. And I was like, what if your name was just an acronym? And we just made up what the H, the A, the R, the P, the E, and the R were, right? And like, by the end of this call, we were like, I think we just invented like a whole thing. Like, it was like, you are now the Harper, trademark. The Harper method, how to be an e-teacher, basically.
Yeah, and like education loves their acronyms anyway, so it's perfect.
Yeah, it seemed to work out. Like it seemed to flow well for me, and it makes me look a little more original because as I did the research, there are a lot of people out there who are doing the same exact thing.
Which is a good thing, though, because that means there is a market, and you just got to get your piece of the pie, right?
Right.
All right. So, what is the Harper method? What do we come up with? Tell everybody about the Harper method.
Okay. Well, H starts for helping you understand your students. So it's analyzing the characteristics of your students and their learning styles just to determine what type of class that you're going to be teaching.
Okay.
A is assign objectives and learning theory. R is resources, selecting and preparing your resources and strategies.
Okay. What's the P?
P is participation. Just you determine assignments, assessment, and feedback of how your students will be participating. E is evaluate. So you evaluate your course that you've designed and look at where you need to improve. And then R is revision and repetition. So you just go over what you've evaluated and repeat the process.
And like, here's what's funny. Like that didn't exist before our meeting. And now you've created the actual Harper method. We have modules and courses that actually teach this to e-learners to help them become better. And I always tell people this, like, they're like, well, everybody else looks so official and everyone's got their accreditation and their certification. And here's the deal. Somewhere at some point, every one of those certifications that you see anywhere, someone just sat in a room and made it up. Like, right? Like all these acronyms, all these things that we have, Common Core and all that was just people who made stuff up. And you clearly have the expertise in this because you have a degree in it.
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, it sounds very professional to me. I'm like, oh, wow.
Ooh, the Harper method.
That sounds like very legit.
That's like hardcore, like, but like when you do, but like you can go out and create these things. My favorite is like coaches. Like there's this coach named Brendan Bouchard and he has high performance coaching. right? And getting a high performance coaching certification is a big deal. But like that dude just made that up. Like he didn't go get accredited by the, Yale or anything. He just made it up and he started selling it. And it's like, yeah, he created a system. You learn it and it will help you be a better coach, right? Well, all you've done is created the system that will teach people who are not e-learners or not e-teachers to go be e-teachers. And you have every right to do that because you've got the expertise to do it. So that's amazing.
Right. And it's funny because even going over the other models that are already out there, like I feel like my model, I kind of not made it better, but I tweaked things a little bit to where, how I can't, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You're fine.
Well, how just things continually get better. When you look at something, you can see what could make it better. So I kind of looked at what's out there and I tried to make my model flow a little bit better than what I personally have seen.
And the difference there between you and everybody else, okay, anyone who doesn't take action is you actually created this thing. Like there's probably 100 other people that looked at that same thing and said, well, I could do this better. But they never made the thing and you did.
Right.
And that's why you've given yourself such an opportunity to like go be successful and get your course out there and actually start selling it and become this expert where people come to you to learn how to be like an e-learner, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Okay, Crystal. So you got your product kind of outlined and where is it at right now? So you have already been working on it. Have you completed it? Have you sold it? Where are you at right now?
Well, I did complete it. At first I put it on Udemy and I haven't made any sales on Udemy. But I've also put it on my website. So I started up my website. I've been building my social media. That's mainly what I've been focusing on the last week or so is just building up LinkedIn, Facebook, Pinterest.
So basically you're following the Flip Your Life Blueprint. And it's amazing how things happen when you do that. Like you created your course, you put it in a third-party market just so it's for sale, just in case, right?
Yeah.
And then you built your website and your social media. You're building your platform. Okay. You're creating infrastructure that will support this. And now you have to take it to the next level and just find people to buy the thing. Right.
Right.
So tell me about your email list. You've actually got that out there too. Like what's happening with your email list?
Yeah. Well, I made a few opt-ins or lead magnets and put them. I have blog posts. I wrote out. I have a bunch of blog posts going all the way through October, but I put lead magnets on the blog post and then on my website, and people have been opting in. So I got my first email a little over a week ago, and then I got another one. And then I realized that, going back a little bit, I didn't have a lead magnet on the homepage. And I actually just fixed that a couple of days ago. And then all of a sudden I got 6 more people with it. Yeah. All in the last 30 hours, I've gotten 6 more people added to my email list.
Now, let me ask you this now. How many actual blog posts are done? Because one of the things that we really preach in the Flip Your Life Blueprint is batching your content ahead so that you can go back and promote the content you've batched, right? So how many of those have actually went live?
Live, there's probably maybe around 8 or so.
Oh my gosh. Now think about that. People get frustrated at us sometimes because they listen to other people and they're like, no, I have to have 100 blog posts and build an audience. And then I ask them what they want and blah, 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 blah. But no, you're like, no, you made your product. It's already for sale. And with just 8 blog posts, you're being found and people are subscribing. And now you can email them and you can sell them this product that you've already got that you can make money off. So even though it's in its infancy and it's just at the very beginning, you can see things happening just because you're making things happen, right? And there's people that have 10,000 people reading their thing, but they never put an opt-in up, so they never even get a lead.
Yeah.
Right? And you're starting to see that come to fruition.
I'm not ready, or I don't know what they want. Well, here's the thing. If you make something, somebody might buy it. If you make nothing, there's no opportunity for anyone to buy it.
Exactly.
Right.
You're giving yourself massive opportunity.
Yeah, it's just putting yourself out there. I've just been posting on social media every day, and I'm getting between 15 and 20 something views a day. So there's people
what's
out there
going
every
to
day.
happen when you have 20 or 30 blog posts and you've been consistently doing social media for months, right?
Right.
You're still going to start getting traction. The course will start evolving. You'll start talking to people and the first sales come, right?
Yeah.
So it's so funny how many times we've seen, we've literally watched hundreds of people go down the path, and it always happens about the same way. And then we watch hundreds of others veer completely off the path, and they just, play on social media all day, and then they quit and say online business doesn't work. Right. But it's like we said when we were first talking, hey, if you build the course and if you have a lead magnet, somebody's going to opt in. Lo and behold, guess what happened? You got leads, right?
Sure, right.
Okay. So my first question would be, have you asked these people to buy yet? Like, are they in some type of a sequence?
Like an autoresponder? Have you actually sent them an email and said, hey, I have a course over here?
I have not. And that's part of my action plan for this week is to create an email autoresponder. Especially since I got 6 new people in the last day or so, I feel like I need to be emailing them. So that's definitely my plan. I've been promoting the course on social media, but I haven't sent it out in email yet.
And that's where the real power is, because usually social media is kind of only good for getting you emails, like getting you leads, and then you follow up with them to actually like make the sales. But that's okay though. Like, you're going in order. I'm telling you, you're doing things step by step. And that's why you're going to be successful with this, because you've done it right. Like, now you're like, wait a minute, I have people that raise their hand. I just have to email them, and maybe they'll raise their hand again, except this time there'll be a wallet in it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's crazy when you go step by step, but it really seems like it's working.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Well, you mentioned a little bit about putting yourself out there, and I know that it's one of the fears that you have, because I'm looking at your form that you filled out before the podcast. So let's talk a little bit about that. What fear is holding you back just a little bit right now?
My biggest fear is going live. I don't mind as much going on video or audio and you record it and they see it later, but I'm terrified of going live.
What are you terrified of? Like, is that the real fear, or is there something like behind it? Like, what are you afraid is going to happen?
That I'm going to mess up and there's no erase button. I guess I need to build up my confidence. And I mean, I know that I know it. I know that I know the materials, but it's just like sometimes I get tongue twisted, or just, I don't, like right now, I don't know what to say.
I was kind of setting you up there. That's why I wasn't saying, because I'm never short for words. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, what's cool about it though is, one, you don't have to go live. Yeah. Like, I do encourage people to go live a lot, but like, if you don't want to go live, Crystal, nobody's got a gun to your head telling you. Right. So like, I was talking to somebody the other day we were talking content strategies, and we basically had a little bit of a disagreement on what worked online, or what was the best way to be successful. Like, he was really pushing for like, write one blog post a month, 3,000 words, epic post, deeply researched. That's the best way to get traction in your content. And I was like, no, be prolific, go out there and share something, write an email every day like I do, right? Or something like that. Like I like a prolific strategy, be like John Lee Dumas, do a podcast every day for whatever. Like, if you want to get traction, like throw as much mud on the wall, whatever. And we had an impasse about what we each wanted to do, but like, we could both easily point to successful people in either direction. Right. And you will find as many millionaires on Pinterest as you will on Facebook, right? Like, you just will. Like, it doesn't matter. You'll find as many millionaire real estate developers selling single family homes as you will selling apartment buildings. Okay. So there truly 100% is no right way to do this. It's just your way. And like right now, you've just been done blog posts and they've gotten you subscribers, right?
Right.
So don't feel like you have to do that. Now, that being said, also don't be afraid to do it just because you might mess up. Like, if you write a blog post, you're eventually going to write blog posts that have a spelling mistake. Okay. Like if you make YouTube videos, you're eventually going to say something crazy, or your kid, like we were on a member call, like the last member call that we did for the Flip Your Life community, like twice a month, we answer premium member questions for members. So they show up, answer questions. We do it on video. It's in our bedroom, and like we have 2 chairs that sit by this big bay window that look out at the lake. And like, we were sitting here and we were like, whatever. I look behind me and Anna Jo is taking off her clothes back of this video, putting on.
She's
changing into pajamas. Like the dogs, we were in here, and like the kids are allowed to come in here for the balls. And like she literally had her shirt off, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm putting on my pajamas." Like it was just nothing, right? But like you can't avoid every mistake. Is what I'm saying.
Right.
Like there's just it's impossible. So I wouldn't necessarily even worry about getting tongue tied. Like people probably would like that better.
And
if you weren't
here's
perfect.
the thing for me, Crystal, is that the live video actually gives me a sense of peace about doing video because I know that it's live, and I feel like people might actually be more forgiving because of that.
Yeah.
And, if something happens, I might just be like, hey, live video, like brush it off. No big deal. But like, I feel like if I am editing something, like it has to be absolutely perfect.
Right.
It's like in Game of Thrones, the last season of Game of Thrones, someone on Twitter noticed that they had left a Starbucks coffee cup on the table during ye old table during a scene of this medieval fantasy novel, right?
Oh,
like
wow.
they did, but it was like they got butchered for it because you've got this, $100 million a year show, and that has all the time, spent an extra year editing it to make it perfect, and they still left a coffee cup in, right? So but live, it's like crazy stuff just happens live. It's just like no big deal. And I also love live too because like I think it's actually easier for me to do a live video than it is to prepare because I spend so much time preparing when I have to do something and I know I've got to like prepare it and edit it and stuff. And sometimes when I do a live video, I'm just like, I have an idea. I'm going to write 3 bullet points and talk about it and then turn it off. And those are usually my most popular videos.
Really?
Yeah, always. Yeah, it's so funny that live seems so scary, but both of us kind of have agreed that it's actually a lot easier to do live.
Yeah, like the more you do it, the easier it will become. Like this was something that was just really hard for me. It took me probably years, but now when we sit down to do a video, like I'm not perfect at it and I still mess up, but I don't even really care that much anymore. And like it's come so much easier because I've practiced it all these times.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I can see that.
Another thing too that I think people really intimidated with live video is the teaching, right? One, you have to know your content when you're teaching live. Like that's true. So I think a lot of people that are listening right now, your fear is not going live. Your fear is people finding out you don't know what in the heck you're talking about, right? So if you know what you're talking about, it doesn't matter. Like I could get on and talk about football all day. I could talk about the 3-5-3 defense for hours. I could talk about online business. You put me on. I did a 45-minute training the other day off of 3 bullet points that I wrote down literally walking in the door before the show, right? And it was like, I just know I'm talking about things I know. So like this thing that you invented called the Harper method, if you want to talk about it, it's your thing. You're going to know more about it than anyone else on the planet. Right. So like you shouldn't be like intimidated by that,
And just remember that. I forgot what I was going to say.
See, right there. Leave that in. We're not even taking that out. That's what happened.
Oh, okay, I know. And just remember that people do not expect you to have all the answers. It's okay to tell someone you don't know something. If someone asks you something and you're not sure, just be honest with them and be like, hey, I don't know the answer to that question. Let me look into it some and I'll be happy to get back to you later.
Yeah. Right. And go after the low-hanging fruit when you start. I think people think they have to do live videos that are, like you're going to change the world with your next Facebook Live, right? But like sometimes a live video can be, hey guys, Crystal Harper here, and founder and inventor of the Harper method. We've got a new blog post. It's titled The H in the Harper method. Go check it out. I'm going to drop a link below. Like that's a live video. Like you don't you can just tell them that something's going on. It does. So your live strategy doesn't have to be live teaching. You can teach a detailed blog post and then just use live to show a little personality and tell people about your existing content. So
I like that. And it's like baby steps. So
it's like baby steps.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Or it's a strategy in and of itself.
Like true.
There's no right way to do this. Just incorporate all these awesome tools that we have to promote the stuff that you already do.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. So let's talk about how we can grow this audience and get you to your next level.
Well, is it too early to be starting my membership? Because I kind of already have started looking into starting a membership. But that was one of my questions that I wanted to ask you guys. Like, when am I ready to take that step? I mean, I only have a few people even viewing me right now. So
Is it too early is what you're saying,
Right.
basically. Yeah. I don't think so. The answer to us for anybody that ever asks us this is no. Like it doesn't matter what you sell. It just matters that you sell, right?
Do I need to start a beta? I hear you guys talk about beta groups. Like, is that the way I should go about it before I actually just throw a membership out there?
Well, your first 20 members are your beta members anyway. The beta just means the first one, basically. Like you've not sold it yet. Like you're literally crossing the finish line of having a thrown together platform with a product sitting in the middle of the stage, right? So like we just have to figure out how that product changes a little to make it into a membership. So basically, if you have the content living in a protected area on your site, the only thing you really have to add to it is access to you, and you have a membership. You could do member calls like we do. Like teachers could come, ask you questions twice a month, and you charge a recurring cost for that. So there's different ways that you could do that. Like you could sell the course and then sell a $19 a month talk to the founder of the Harper method twice a month kind of thing. Or you could package it like all together. It really doesn't matter how you frame it. But I like when people start with their membership, because let's say you have 100 people on your list and you're charging $50 a month. Well, if you get 10 of those people, you're making $500 a month. That's a car payment month one. So you don't have to when you have a membership, you don't have to convert so many people. Like if you're just selling a course by itself, like an email list of 100 people won't do it. But if you have 100 members, that'll totally do it. Like 100 times 50 is 60,000 a year, right? Yeah. So so I like it when people start with the membership.
Okay. The cool thing about doing the beta is that it gives you the opportunity to see if it's working for you, and then also if it's working for your members. Like if you started out and you tell them that you're going to do 2 member calls a month and you don't like doing that, or you want to change something about it, it gives you the opportunity to do so.
You can evolve basically with the first members. And like you have an unfair advantage right now. Like, let's say you have 10 people on your list, you could literally record a video for all 10 of them and be like, hey, Christy, thanks for signing up for my list. I'm getting ready to start a membership where I will personally teach you the Harper method. I'm only going to charge you $9 a month. This is eventually going to be $99 a month. But right now, limited time, get in. You can ask me questions about being an e-teacher. I can show you how to transition from, classroom teaching to online teaching. I can show you how to do the curriculum and stuff. And you'll literally get to talk to me, but it's a beta. So I'm letting you select people in and I select you. Right.
Yeah, I like that.
So like you could totally like reach out to these people and try to get those beta members.
Okay.
Anytime you can build recurring revenue as early as possible, you should do it.
And I would even like reach out to them personally before you get this autoresponder done. These people just signed up for your list. So take advantage of the small numbers right now and like write them back personally and say, hey, I just wanted to thank you for signing up for my list. Are there any questions I can answer for you?
Yeah, the autoresponder, cool. I think people always ask me this in the community. I don't know if we talk about this much on the air, but we talk about this in our member calls quite a bit. Like your autoresponder is almost like whipped cream on the ice cream. It's like the cherry on top, right? Like people get they get this romanticized version of online business. Like I built a product and I had a single lead magnet that led to 7 emails and that's how everyone joins. But honestly, that's not how barely anybody really joins. You know what I'm saying? Like the autoresponder we always say it takes the low hanging fruit. Like there might be 5% of your email list that ever just signs up because you asked them with an autoresponder, right?
And there's no magical autoresponder. There's no magical copy.
No.
And like one thing that we've decided to do is that we've decided to market like it's 25 years ago. And we actually reach out to people. Like we send them videos. We reach out to our audience. We reach out to our members. We say, how can we serve you? Would you like to buy a live event ticket? Like these are things that we actually do. Right. And that's going to help you, especially in the beginning, to build that know, like, and trust for people so that they will invest in what you're selling them.
Like the autoresponder is more like your day off insurance. Like anytime, like tomorrow, Jocelyn and I today had like 3 podcasts that we recorded. We had a strategy meeting over lunch about some hiring decisions that we're making. We worked a lot today. Basically, that's what I'm saying. Like we put a lot of hours in today. And tomorrow we're going down to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, to take our kids to the water park at Dollywood, right?
Oh,
so
cool.
we're going to spend all day with the kids tomorrow. But like I know that if anybody signs up for my list tomorrow, I got an autoresponder. Or at least they're going to get an email. They're going to get that coming out. We're going to have, we have a promotion running. We're having a quarterly promotion, like a first day of summer promotion. So I know that email is going to go out this week to people who are not in the autoresponder. I know that members are getting emails about Flip Your Life Live next week. Like, it's already kind of done, right? So those automated emails are not the end all be all. The follow up is what matters. Like, if someone hits reply to and asks a question about Flip Your Life Live, well, I have those pushed to me, and then I make them a video and freak them out. Right? So like, that's where sales are made. They're not made in the autoresponder. So,
and that's one thing I love about you guys is how you guys are just super connected with your customers. So it just makes you seem much more real.
Well, you actually get to talk to us.
Right. Right. It's so cool.
Right. And like everybody can make that happen in their business, because, we really mean it when we say, like, who wouldn't want to make $60,000 a year working at home? Like, as a minimum, as a baseline, like, that's 100 people, $50 a month, 200 people at $25 a month. Like, those are real numbers, and they're really possible for anyone who's listening to this podcast right now, right? If you do what we say, build recurring revenue, do a membership, be real, reach out, let them know you're a real human. Let them know the Harper method is actually ran by Crystal Harper, and they can talk to Crystal. And Crystal will help them implement that to change the way they run their business.
And hopefully it will grow to a point where you can't do that forever. But like, there are still ways to get things like that done, even if you grow to a really large number.
And it's why we actually started the program that you're in. We call it our S&J All Access is what we call it, right? Mm-hmm. And one of our big things is our community has gotten so big, right? It's impossible for us to literally talk to hundreds of people every day, right?
Yeah.
But we find ways to go one to many. We find, like, the forums, we can jump in and kill a bunch of questions. The member calls twice a month, we're live listening to people asking questions and answering them right there on the air. But even the reason we started S&J All Access is because we have a philosophy where we say we need to be able to do for a few what we wish we could do for everybody, right? Like, I wish I could help every single person starting out do what you're doing, right? Like, we're working with like this. Like, Crystal gets to actually talk to me on Voxer as an app every day. She can send me messages, and I send her a message back and tell her.
I know, it's amazing. I love it. I like.
But I can't do it for everybody, right? And there is a cost associated to it,
right?
But that keeps us in. Someone asked me one time, a mastermind me, and they were like, "Why do you let beginners into your private mastermind, like your S&J All Access? Like, why don't you only work with people who are, have 500 members and you're trying to get them to 1,000?" Which I do have people like that, right? But that's not the heartbeat of our community. Like, the heartbeat of our community is people like you who are like, I've got an idea. This is gold. We've got to make it happen. How do I do this? Like, okay, let's go make it happen. Right?
Oh yeah. If I didn't sign up for the Voxer program, I know I wouldn't be where I'm at now. That's for sure.
I mean, most people always tell me, I don't even think I would have made my course. Right? And I'm like,
oh yeah.
That's why I won't let you start until you make your course.
Right. Now
right?
I know. Yeah. Now I'm like really learning the steps. Like, I know what to do next,
Exactly.
like.
And you'll do the same thing
helpful
with that personal connection if you keep it in your business. And that's what creates loyalty. That's what creates recurring revenue. That's what creates a stable online business.
All right, Crystal, we have had an awesome conversation today. It has been great talking to you. I cannot wait to meet you in person very, very soon. But before we go, we always like to ask our guests, what is one thing that you plan to take action on based on what we talked about on today's call?
Okay, well, I think the first thing I'm going to do in the next day is personally email each of my email subscribers and thank them for joining my list, and maybe ask them some questions or what they would like to know with teaching online.
And anyone that replies to you, ask them to buy your course.
Okay.
Sell it. You got to sell that thing. You're not going to make any money on it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes. Sounds good.
All right. Well, listen, thank you so much, Crystal. Look, I know that Crystal was very nervous when we first got on the call today. And I know it can be very intimidating to come on a podcast when it's not something that you do all the time. And thank you for just sharing your fears and your vulnerabilities. Listen, we all have these things that we have to overcome. And there's a lot of people listening that just probably nodding their head with this episode like, this is me. Like, this person is me, and I'm going to do this because she's doing it. So thank you for coming on the show.
Yes, thank you so much. I really you just have to put yourself out there and just do it. Even if you have fears, you just have to go for it, and it gets a little bit easier the more you do it, I guess.
Well, let's just keep building it and change that, and we'll flip that life. We won't just change your life.
Right.
We're gonna flip your life, right?
Right. That's true.
You're amazing, Crystal. All right, guys, what an amazing conversation that we had with Crystal today. She is doing everything she needs to do to start, build, and grow a successful online business. She's got all the pieces of the puzzle laying on the table, and we're just putting them together one piece at a time. And I cannot wait to see what that picture looks like for her. And I cannot wait to see what it looks like for you as well. We would love to help you take your next steps in your online business inside of the Flip Your Life community. We have plans available for every budget and every need. All you have to do is go to flippedlifestyle.com/flipyourlife and check out all of the great content that we have inside. Check out all of the amazing community support that is waiting for you inside of the Flip Your Life community. That's flippedlifestyle.com/flipyourlife. And we would love to work with you inside. Before we go, we like to close every episode of the Flip Lifestyle podcast with a Bible verse. Jocelyn and I get a lot of our inspiration, motivation, and even our business ideas from the Bible. Today's Bible verse comes from Proverbs 28:10. The Bible says, lead good people down a wrong path and you'll come to a bad end, but do good and you will be rewarded for it. And that's all you have to do, guys. Take something that you know that you can help someone else out there on the internet with, build a business around it, and when you take action, you will be rewarded for it. So thanks for listening today. Until next time, get out there, take action, do whatever it takes to flip your life. We'll see you then.
Bye. What was that? What were you just talking about?
I was saying that, like, if you know your content, do it because nobody else knows it. Like,
I don't know. Like, I don't remember what I was going to say. I have something on my mind.
Oh, you want me to say something and start talking and you think about it?
No, hold on, because I'm going to think of it. And just remember that I forgot it again. Oh my gosh, what is wrong with me? Okay, hold on.
We're not live. That's the problem.
Oh, I know.
Great B-roll. You got it?
Hold on. I've thought of something.
Type it out.
No, I don't have to type it out because I remember what I was going to say. Oh,